You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. There's more humidity and a chance of tropical downpours this week. Meteorologist Rich Von Olin is with us now. So, Rich, what can we expect?
Yeah, more of the same for at least the next few days coming up here. And some of that rain could come down in buckets and cause some flash flooding. So we have to be very careful, very weather aware this week. But will things finally change going into the week? And that's the big question. Any big heat waves on store? Probably not, but we have to watch for that chance of this flash flooding potential for at least the next 2 or 3 days. We'll be back with a full forecast and try to time it out throughout the week.
All right, well, thank you so much, Rich. We appreciate it. Now, you may not have to take off your shoes next time you're going through airport security. That's right. Sources say the TSA is already getting rid of the requirement at some airports, including JFK. The changes will eventually be put into effect nationwide. And the sentencing date has been set for Sean Diddy Combs. Attorneys for the hip-hop mogul and prosecutors agreed on an October 3rd date. Now, the rapper was convicted last week on prostitution-related charges, but was acquitted on racketeering and sex trafficking charges. And the numbers are in for total arrests on Long Island during the 4th of July weekend. Police arrested and charged 52 people for allegedly driving while intoxicated over the weekend. 11 people were taken into custody for illegal fireworks. Nassau police got more than 600 calls complaining about fireworks. Suffolk, though, does not keep track of those complaints. And the Knicks have introduced their new head coach. Newsday's Knicks writer Steve Popper spoke to Mike Brown at the team's press conference today.
The Knicks introduced their new head coach, Mike Brown. Now, the Knicks holding a press conference is something that doesn't happen every day, but also hiring a coach after a 51-win Eastern Conference final appearance doesn't happen every day for teams. He made a very concerted effort not to look at the past, not to look at what the team was in the past, what Tom Thibodeau did here, or what he did in his numerous stops around the league.
Our goal is to build a sustainable winning culture that produces championships. That's why I'm here.
And I asked him about, will this be a Mike Brown team, or do you adapt to what this team already does? And he said it's sort of a little bit of combination of both.
You have a philosophy on both ends of the floor, but you have to make sure that it fits with your personnel. So it's ever evolving, and it will be here once our roster is final, our staff is final. We'll lay the groundwork or the foundation for what we're going to do going forward as a unit.
This is a team that was very successful. You either bring them to the next level or it's going to be a failure if you don't reach where Tom Thibodeau had this team. This was a huge decision to make a coaching change, and I think this is just the start of what we're going to get an answer to, whether it was worthwhile or not. This is Steve Popper, again, for Newsday Sports from the Madison Square Garden Training Center.
It's being called an environmental success story. Once on the brink of extinction, the Osprey is making a comeback, thanks in part to the hands-on work of wildlife conservation agencies and volunteers. Ospreys were at critically low numbers in the 1970s when DDT poisoning almost wiped them out. The pesticide, which was sprayed on coastal marshes to kill mosquitoes, also resulted in the thinning of osprey eggshells, which prevented eggs from hatching. But after a national ban on the chemical in 1972 and decades of targeted conservation efforts by wildlife conservationists, including the Group for the East End, osprey are flourishing on Long Island.
So I've been at this business for about 40 years. And the one thing about the osprey story, which I think more people need to know, is it's a success story.
Robert DeLuca of the Group for the East End says a key factor of the osprey's resurgence has been the widespread installation of artificial nestling platforms.
And that helped the bird reestablish because those nest platforms are built in such a way that they're not as susceptible to predation from raccoons or other things that may get up into the nest. We actually monitor roughly 400 nests in the 5 East End towns We have volunteer birders and staff people who are trained in doing this kind of thing.
Another challenge is the raptors' penchant for nesting in hazardous locations, including the top of utility poles. Their large wingspan and the sticks they carry can cause electrical fires, and the birds can be electrocuted. PSCG Long Island works closely with the group for the East End to protect the birds by installing V-guards on top of utility poles and safely relocating nests when necessary.
That idea that, we humans got involved in something, we made it better, I think is a good message for people.
For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Grab your appetite. Or competitive eating. I want you to meet a man who needs no introduction if you've ever watched competitive eating competitions.
What's good, folks? My name is Eric Badlands Booker. I'm a competitive eater, been doing that for 25 years. I also do chugging, and I'm on a mission to chug the world, one bottle at a time.
Eric Badlands Booker has been winning eating and chugging contests since 1997. But before we take a bite of any food, I wanted to know what it takes to have a job that's so, well, filling.
You gotta have 4 things in order to be a good competitive eater. You gotta have a good stomach capacity, you gotta have good stamina, a good strategy, and a focused mind.
Booker says, like stomachs, nowadays aspiring eaters have to be flexible because they'll have to travel, train, and in most cases, even be their own multimedia content creator.
Social media is basically just, doing what you do, doing what you love, but you have to be tangible to your audience.
When he's not shining on stages around the world, he's in his Selden kitchen, creating videos on his YouTube channel and also spending time preparing for the next showdown.
You must evolve in competitive eating just like in any sport, things change, time change, It's like back in the day, if you ate 20 hot dogs and you can win a contest, but now 20 is just the beginning.
Little did he know his next contest is about to begin. Right now, against me, 5 wings each in the shortest amount of time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's good. Wow.
I might have lost, but hey, I'm dealing with a professional.
There's a 2-bite method and where you just go.
1 bite, 2 bite, and you're done. Ooh. A professional who takes his job seriously, even when nerves try to take control. You ever get scared?
Oh yeah. I am frightened every time I'm up there.
Because this fulfilling job is not done not only for himself, but for his family, his adoring fans, and also for the sport itself.
We're all just regular people, and at the time of a competition, we all suit up like the Avengers.
Just want the record to state I lost by half a wing. So if you don't try, you don't win. All right, so let's get back to your Long Island weather. Meteorologist Rich Von Olin is standing by. Rich?
All right, so weather aware this week, Long Island, because we've got a lot to talk about. We've got a tropical air mass in place, tropical humidity, and with that, we have a chance of flash flooding with all that humidity and the chance of these passing storms. Now, what causes the flash flooding? It's basically towering cumulonimbus clouds that go way up in the sky. When you see those big mushroom clouds developing, eventually, the heavens open up, basically, the rain comes down in buckets, and you could get situations like this that we had a couple of weeks ago here in East Meadow, where the the flooding just starts to take place on the roadways and the streets. Now, what causes it? Heat, humidity. You need waves of low pressure. You need, again, moisture in the air. And basically, you need those towering clouds. And when they do tower and they go high in the sky, you get those downpours. And those big torrential downpours cause that very heavy rain. Will this be like Texas, though? Everyone talking about the tragedy, the catastrophe in Texas. A different situation. We don't have the same type of terrain here. No big river across the island to kind of flood, and no big plateau, an area where all the water runs down into a valley. So if that's the case here, I don't think we're going to see the kind of catastrophe that we saw in Texas there. But we do have that chance of getting some of that street flooding that could cause some of the roads to puddle up a bit and cause some hazards. So just be aware of that, again, here across the island. It's not going to be the same as Texas, but again, we have to be weather aware. We had a situation happen last year in August across the North Shore. Again, we want to be just aware that this situation, this setup, is kind of right for something like that happening. But again, it depends on where the shower is set up. Futurecast shows it's not going to be widespread. Again, some spots get poured on, some don't. Nassau and Suffolk County, the entire area, though, is prone with some of the reds, oranges, and yellows through Wednesday night and for Thursday and possibly into Friday of seeing those sudden downpours and sudden flash floods. We're in the orange. This is very humid air. You can see from the legend up there, when it stays orange, it stays very sticky, it stays very humid. We don't get rid of this until maybe next week, so it's going to be a while. We'll be in this pattern for quite some time. And again, anytime you get one of those waves coming in from the west bumping into this humidity, you get that opportunity of those Florida-type tropical downpours that could cause the flash flooding. So looking ahead, I think Saturday right now looks like maybe the better, quieter day. Another wave comes in there on Sunday, so not completely dry for the weekend. We'll keep our fingers crossed things get better. It does look like, of course, going into early next week, Monday and Tuesday, we start to get a little bit of a drying pattern. So this pattern could persist for about 5 or 6 days. In terms of heat, probably a bit above normal from the climate center across the Northeast, but no big heat waves like we had a few weeks ago. I think the big story is just the humidity and that opportunity for getting some flash flooding with some of the heavy rain coming down. 80s on Wednesday, again, a chance of shower storms, mainly late in the day as things percolate towards the afternoon and evening. You get that opportunity for a downpour or two. 7-day forecast, same thing Thursday, a little bit less on Friday, maybe better on Saturday, and a chance on Sunday. And then it's next week, Monday, Tuesday, I think we finally break this very humid pattern.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Sun Nation Energy, helping Long Island homes and businesses save with solar for over 20 years.
You're watching Newsday TV. For more on all the stories you've seen here today, head over to newsday.com. I'm Ken Buffa. Thank you so much for joining us.